Hey everybody, hi, this is Greg. How you doing? I just wanted to drive home and talk with you as I'm driving home today. Pretty much it's been a long day at work, and so I'm here about to drive home. Ah, cool, somebody doing drag racing right behind the car. Of course they would. Why not? So, here we go. I'm just gonna drive home right now. I just want to say a couple things. Okay, today's been like a really cool day. I had a nice time. It's daylight, Usually I'm driving home at night, but right now I'm driving home at day. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about and say about like the things we were talking about. I did a video last night, and pretty much video as I did it. It was one of those videos where I was trying to explain a lot of things and do a lot of presentations and stuff. Today is Easter, so I want to say Happy Easter, everyone. Happy Easter. Happy Resurrection Day, everyone. Easter comes from Ishtar, and Ishtar is, is a goddess, and the goddess is not what we're trying to celebrate here. We're trying to celebrate that Jesus rose from the dead and the fact that he conquered death and the grave. So, one of the things I wanted to say is that pretty much happy Resurrection Day. Thank God that the Lord Jesus Christ came into this world. I want to say a couple of things. I want to say a couple of thank yous. A lot of things in my life I've kind of gone through and I've been able to endure and avoid has been to the grace of God. I have to admit, it's been to the grace of God. And I want to thank God for that. I wanted to thank God for the opportunity just to be, just to be alive, I have a lot of stories in my life, but one of the things I just want to say, I thank God for meeting my wife when I did. Thank God for the way in which we met, the way in which our relationship was formed, the way in which how it was just the right time, the perfect time for us to meet. Also, how it was like I thank God for my children, for my four kids. I thank God for them, and each and every one of them is unique and special to me. They all have a personality of me and my wife, and they have a combination of each. And so, all of our good, all of our bad, they're in there. And they have their own personality, so they're a combination. They're a whole new hybrid creature. So I thank God for them. I thank God for all the stuff that I did in my growing up in high school, and growing up from high school, junior high school, elementary. When I was in junior high school, my parents put me on to studying the Word of God and studying the Bible. And that helped me out tremendously because what it did was that it put me into the path of just being able to you know uh, I guess the Bible says if you study the word of God, it's able to make you wise. Able to make you wise unto good works, and also wise unto spiritual righteousness and things like that. How to handle situations, and it's given me like a great insight in a lot of things. It's like how our bodies are able to detect stuff. Like for example, when people start yawning, everybody else starts yawning too. Well, one of the things about this is like when you have a situation where you are yawning and somebody else yawns. There's also a thing where you have discernment, and you may not know it. Like you can't like say it. Discernment, like an understanding about something, and sometimes more often than not, my discernment has been really on point, and I thank God for that. I thank God for all the people in my life that God put there at certain times, and I listened to them, and I heard their voice, and I heard their plea about stuff, and to all the people who were like um, who were there that I got a chance to talk with and to be friends with. Just I thank God for all the friends, all the people who I grew up with from elementary school. And my friend, thank God for my friend Luigi. Luigi, you know who you are. If you're listening to this, I want to give a shout out to you. You were my friend growing up, so I want to thank God for you and that you were there because I grew up in a house full of sisters. I had sisters growing up, and the boys needed their brothers, and he was my brother growing up. He went up to. I can't tell you all his details. I'm not going to tell you all the details, but I just want to say he was my brother, and I thank God for him. And I thank God for my other brothers, my other friends. Thank God for Javon and for Odell and for all my friends who were there for me and different stages that might help me to get to where I am today. Those people who I grew up with and had good friendships with, as well as those who are now my enemies and people who don't talk to me anymore for whatever reason. I thank God for them as well because they also had given me some kind of a place in life. They were there to challenge me and to make me into a person that I can actually learn and talk with and be able to just grow and grow. You need challenges in life. You can't have no challenge in life if you want to grow strong. You have to safe harbors don't make good sailors. You have to kind of venture out and do stuff. You got to do stuff that's amazing. I want to shout out to all the people who I met, all the people who I've been in my churches when I grew up, to Julian's I went to, all the people there. my dad. My dad was very influential in my life in that he got us to read the Bible a lot. We were reading the scriptures like 3 hours every night for years. Okay, so I learned the Bible very well. And then there was thank God for that. I also thank God for my mom. Mom has been like a really good person of compassion in my life, and she taught me about how to be kind to people. She was the one. So if there's any kindness for me, it's my mother. So I just want to let you know that. So my mother, and she had a real good influence on me, and I think she lives in me. I sound like her. Like, hello, Johannes, how you doing? She's in my brain, okay? She's just in there, and so it's weird. So I have her voice. I have my mom's voice. Every so often I start laughing and stuff like that. I sound like my mom. Oh, goodness, this is weird. I thank God for how different things. I'm just kind of just thanking God because, I've been through a lot of things. I've been through survived many accidents, many situations, many things. And now we're here with this thing. And we have gone through so many things. We as a people, we as humanity. And you know what? It's kind of one of those things. When my mom died of ovarian cancer, her situation, her thing, what made me so sad was because I felt like they could have done something to help her. They could have done something to give her a hand, give her a help. And what ended up happening was they wanted to give her doses and more doses of chemotherapy, and they just continued to bombard my mom. And when they did that, it was one of the things where I began to lose my trust in the whole medical industry. Because, I started looking into this whole thing about, what makes a person sick, what makes a person healthy. And a lot of it's what we put into our body, and a lot of it is stress that we face, And one of the things that made me just sad was because my mom, she believed everything the medical industry and the doctors and the government said, And for me, I believe a lot of it too. I grew up believing that the church system. I believed that everything was right with the church system. I believed it completely, 100% entirely. And I just hook, line, and sinker just trusted in it. I believe that, Jesus died on the cross for my sins. He's buried, rose again the third day. And I know this because of history. I believe in it. Not only that, but because, he's changed my life. He's given me a purpose in life. When everything else has gone crazy in life, I look back and I think about how he's been such a good, strong influence in my life. He's given me hope and a dream and an idea and a purpose, and an anchor. It's the Bible says he's an anchor. Scripture says he's an anchor beyond the veil, and so he's an anchor that goes, he's a high priest, he's an anchor. And what he has done, which is so amazing, is that he's given me a hope that cannot be shaken, So when you get through a situation where you go to a church and then you want to be like the youth director or you want to be like an evangelist in the church and they tell you you're too young, or tell you that we already have an evangelist, or tell you that, pretty much, they tell you that your decision and your dream is different than their dream. You say, okay, well, I'll go somewhere else. And then you go to another building and then they tell you about how they'll support you and believe in you. And then for 10 years you serve with them, and then one day they take you aside and have a conversation with you and they say, oh, I never thought of you as a missionary. Oh, that was fabulous. I thought it was amazing. And then they wait for your mission board to let you go, so they can finally start supporting your money as a missionary. Then they tell you how they don't think you as a missionary. Then you go to another church building, and then you run into them, and then they have a thing where they give you 1 year to try and build up their youth group that was 0 to where you build up to 15 people. And then after that, they tell you about how you fail at your mission. And their mission was not your mission. Your mission was to teach people how to trust in the Lord Jesus as their Savior. And what ended up happening is that they still want to just have more people to come in and give more tithe and offering. And then that will set you on a path that says, you know what, there's something fishy here with the entire system. And you start learning that there's power, and when there's power to be had, there's people to be suckered. When there's power to be had, there's people to be suckered. And I've learned this over time that, you know what, I started saying to myself, I don't want anybody to become like a high official in church systems, because they shouldn't. God will be the one who determines. God will be the one who opens up people how to lead. And a person, if you ever look at this in the Bible, all the prophets didn't want to be prophets. Every single one of them hated it. Every single one of them hated it. Why did they hate it? Because it's going to cause them to die. Every one of them are going to die. The only person that didn't die was Elijah. He didn't die because he got took. God took him, so he didn't die. He came up in a chariot of fire, and then you have Enoch, another one who was taken. But every other prophet in the Bible, they went through some harrowing experience. Some got sawn in half, some got burned, some got killed. Everybody got something wrong with them. And even Jesus, when he was on the earth, he said, not my will, but thy will be done, There's a possibility that's like, you know what? This is gonna be painful, but it's not my will, but thy will be done. And that's the ultimate, you know? Everybody who ever wanted to be a thing. So when a person gets that God brought me to, he said, I want you to see this. I want you to go and I want you to experience this for yourself. To see what this thing called ministry is. But not only that, my friend, I want you to learn from it. I want you to learn that the church is not the building. The church is the people. I want you to continue to shine. I want you to continue to be alive. I want you to continue to be a person who, who believes and continue to believe without it. So it's like, in a sense, you were trained. You were trained. My dad trained me since I was a little kid to read the scriptures and to understand it. Able to make you wise, the Bible says. And then I met many people who came along and gave me a lot of insight, who were there to encourage me, and not only me, but also help me encourage other people. And then it got some of the rough edges off. I remember, like, in high school, they used to call me Brother Greg in high school, and I liked that name. They were making fun of me, but I liked that name, Brother Greg. And then there was another name when I got to working in my other job, when I worked in a retail job before this one. They used to call me Preacher Man. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like Bible Man. But Preacher Man, I like that too, because so I'd always be preaching. And so it was just, that worked on me, and I thank God for the opportunity to be around. But a lot of it, I think my personality changed from high school, and I became more compassionate towards people. I didn't wasn't so pointy. I think in the end of high school, my last year of high school, I had a Christian club, and it was a Seekers Christian Fellowship Club. It was a Christian club, and we ran for 32 weeks. And thank you, Miss Melnick, for that. I'm not sure you ever watched this video, but if you do, just hey, thank you, Miss Melnick, for that. And she was my proxy teacher, allowed me to do that. Room 345. We used to meet like every day. We were supposed to meet just like Wednesdays. We ended up meeting like every day, like Monday through Friday. We just would meet, and we just loved meeting. And we just all the groups got together. We had such a good time, and we'd have people come in and argue. They'd argue about religion. They'd argue about politics. They'd argue about everything. They'd come into there, and for 32 weeks, I sat there with the Bible, and I sat there with a chalkboard, and I was able to answer every question, or not, but trying to address every question that people might have, And incidentally, that was really cool because that caused me to have to be able to think about what I believed and know why I believe what I believed. But it was also then I got the book Hell's Best Kept Secret by a guy whose name was David. And he came along. I went to a Christian bookstore in Manhattan. It's gone now, but that Christian bookstore in Manhattan was very influential because I got a book Hell's Best Kept Secret by Ray Comfort. And when I got to Bible school, after that, I knew about how to witness to people using the law, the Ten Commandments, and that was something very. It's weird how that worked. The law using the Ten Commandments and sharing the gospel that way, and that was very interesting because when I learned it, I learned that this is such a powerful weapon, that when you share the gospel, that people will listen to you because you're talking to their conscience, You're not talking to their will, their intellect, or their prideful will or their prideful intellect. You're talking to their conscience. Their conscience and their, not emotion, but their conscience, and their conscience has to answer. It's like they know when people know when they did wrong. People know when they've sinned, when they've done wickedness, and they know when they've done these things. And so what happens is like you have it where incident or just there, just talking and you're telling people, and it just kind of cuts to the heart. It's so powerful. It's like people hear God and they don't hear you anymore, and it cut to the heart, and they see the need for a savior, because we all need a savior. We all need a savior. Now we're going through this thing here. This is 2020. I remember back in 1999. I remember back when I was a little kid, how I never thought, wow, year 2000, that's going to be cool. Now it's like 2020. In 2020, we have this thing happen. So here you have it. We are faced with a big old situation. I'm going to stay here for a little bit. I'm just going to sit and chill here. We're faced here with a situation. The situation is that we've been told stuff, When I was young, I always thought that the adults knew everything. And now that I'm an adult and I have children, I know that we don't know anything. We're all trying to figure stuff out, We're all trying to make sense of this world because at the end of the day, we've never gone this way before. None of us have ever gone this way before. We're all new to the situation. So I've never been a parent before. I've never been a dad. Never been a dad of 4 kids. Never been a dad of sons and daughters, So that's new for me. I've never been married before, so that's new. But my wife and I were going to be almost 20 years married, In the 20s, but right now it's going to be 18 years. Married. We've known each other for back in 1999 is when we actually met each other. So now it's, it's, what, 21 years? Let me do my math right. Is that right? 21, 18, 19. Yeah, 21 years, baby. So, I'm going to take it right here. See if I can go this way. 21 years that I've known Amy, my hottie wife. We've done so many things together, my goodness. It's like our whole marriage story is amazing, how we came to know each other. It was like, at that point, I have so many things, I can't even begin to tell you all the stuff that was like, just how God worked it so we could meet. But it was like, she came to work with me on the open air team at the same time that I was going back for the 3rd and 4th year in my Bible school. University. I was going to go to some university and pursue like some kind of degree, like maybe a theology degree, maybe some kind of like some kind of degree, And I was going to pursue that, and they opened up a thing so I can actually be part of this thing here, and go for a Bachelor of Science degree, and so I was able to do that. I got my bachelor's degree. But it was like one of the things that, and at the time, it was like I met her and we worked together, and we didn't like each other at first, We were just friends, and that's really cool right there. If you want somebody, you be friends with them first. Don't get into all that, the games, the games and stuff like that. But I heard something interesting, Somebody said this. It's very interesting. They say when you wear like makeup and cologne and stuff like that, what happens, like somebody said this, and this blew my mind. It says when you wear makeup and cologne, you're actually masking your scent and your aroma. And see, another person's body can detect your fragrance, whether it's good or bad. But I mean, you wear deodorant, yes, but I mean, when you start like trying to drown yourself in cologne and perfume and all that stuff to hide your funk or hide your natural smell, what happens? That messes people up. So there's a thing about being truthful. See, the whole dating thing is a lie. So we weren't trying to lie to each other, we're just being friends. So at the end of like the whole situation was like when we got to our stage where we started realizing, because that was another friend of mine that came along and helped us. That was Daryl. Mr. Daryl, thank you so much for that. Also Mr. John, thank you for that as well. People who came along and helped me to see that this woman, Amy, was awesome. It was amazing. And we had, it was just, I mean, I can't begin to describe how awesome it was. There was so many people involved and inner working. You can see the hand of God working in it, and God directing, and me being sensitive to God's hand, and just Him leading and guiding. And I wonder if I can park right here. Probably, it's probably could park here, but it's so close. Probably right there's a good spot, Probably the best spot I should have taken it. Okay, anyway, what happens is this, right? I'm gonna go across the street. Anyway, what happens is like, you have it where one of the things is that I thank God for just how He just totally opened up and provided for me to meet Amy. And then it was just like, I mean, there's so many things I want to say, but I can't say everything. I can't just freely say because it's about my life, I mean, you can't like tell too much details of your life to the whole world, unless people ask you, and then you can talk to them one-on-one. But it was like this, we were friends, and we determined that we wouldn't have our first kiss until the wedding day. So we said, we've kissed other people before, a long story. We didn't kiss until the wedding day. And so we made that rule, and we didn't. We didn't kiss until the wedding day. So on that altar, when I stand there looking at me, I was like, wow! We smooched it in front of everybody for the first time, and that was our wedding day. That was June 22nd, 2002. That was awesome. And then we went to Aruba, and I thought Aruba was going to be a big old green country, like a rainforest, like my home country, Dominica, would be a rainforest. Dominica's a major rainforest. But it wasn't. Aruba is a big old desert, and I've been to desert twice in my life. And I found out Haiti also has deserts. So, I mean, I learned a bunch of stuff. Oh, goodness, big bus. This way. I go this way. The big bus. Don't hit me, bus. Thank you for not hitting me. Okay, cool. We go left. And we go right. Alright. Okay, so here we go. So that was, I mean, I don't want to just ramble on. I want to talk about something too. But this is pretty much my life, what God has done. So now we've been through so many things. We've been through having 4 children, and each of our kids, is unique. I thank God for each and every one of them. If I could park here, but no, it's probably a hydrant. Is it a hydrant? Yes, it's a hydrant. Okay. And so I thank God for that. Each of my children, each one is unique and each one is very special to me. I love my son, I love my daughter, and my son. So all four of them. And when we named them, I'll say that. I'll tell you. When we named them, each of them has a special meaning. Each of their names mean. Sat there and thought a long time what the name's going to be. Cause we figured, finds you, because that's your name. So what we did, we decided that having the name, for example, my first son's name, his name is Titus, and Titus, he's giant. Everything he does is giant. Everything he does is big. So Titus, and we spell it funny because we spell like T-Y-T-U-S instead of T-I-T-U-S because, well, Titus sounds cool. That's why. Then after that we have Abigail, and Abigail means father's joy. And then we have Chloe, and Chloe means green and growing. And Lucas is light. So you have giant, father's joy, green and growing, and light. Those are the names of my children. And what happened, instead of Lucas, we were going to name him Othniel, so all the acrostic would spell T-A-C-O, spelled taco. But everybody said that his name was going to be Othniel instead of Lucas. Awesome name. They're like, no, it's an awful name. That's an awful name. You shouldn't call a boy Othniel. I was like, come on, that's a good name. That's a real good name. I said, no. So instead of being a taco, it's tackle. So that's what happened. That's the story. So anyway, what has happened is this. I have learned a lot. Oh, this nice park spot here. I've learned a lot of things, and one of the things I learned about is that my family, we come from an island, Dominica, and it was British ruled. And so not only is British ruled, it was French ruled before that, and before that it was indigenous. And it's a country that's really amazing in terms of the beauty and everything like that. I've been there. Last time I was there was when I was 12 years old. So that's a million years ago. I'm not. I'm so much older than 12 now. It's like 30 years ago or something. So I haven't seen that land for a long time. That's I remember last time I was gonna go, or my mom asked me to go. It was a year before she passed away. That was 2001. And they asked me. It says, Greg, would you like to go? And I said, no, I gotta work this summer. I was gonna do my school stuff, and I didn't go. And I feel really bad for not going. And so, but I thank God for all the lessons that were involved in life itself and my family. I thank God for how He opened up the doors for me to meet my wife and my children. Because I wouldn't have met my children without my wife, right? So thank God for that. Thank God for let's see. This is weird. Okay, this is weird. Okay, well, gotta figure out how to turn that thing off. Or we got just like. Oh, okay. Well, that probably did it. Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah. Probably wondering why I'm driving this vehicle. Well, I had to take care of it for a while my pop. And so I had to drive it because if you don't drive a car after a certain days, you start losing abilities in your vehicle. So I drive it and keep it. We don't have alternate side parking anymore, so they've eliminated that. But every so often you have to kind of move your car because if you don't move your car, what happens is that people think the car's abandoned, and they come up and they start beating your car and stealing stuff. So that's one of the things. So I have to drive it every so often just to make sure that it's safe. It was a good day today. Thank God for life, and I thank God for being able to just sit here and think for a little bit. I can actually just focus now and not have to worry about driving. Use that part of the brain, just sit still. I was going to drive around the hospital, and I thought to myself, what's the point of driving around the hospital? Because it's always going to be empty. The parking lots are going to be empty, and it's just. And I've gone even a couple times without recording it. I've gone a couple times, and just saw that there's no activity in the parking lots, no activities in the front door, no activities in the basement. And so I just said to myself, "So what's the point of driving around? I should probably go in at some point, But this thing that they're doing to us, I strongly disagree with it. People say it's the best thing. But I don't think that's how we get virus. I think it's like the same way that women all have the same menstruation at the same time. If you have a dorm full of women, eventually everybody has it like on the same week or something. And that's just weird how that works. And it's all because of hormones and pheromones and different things going on and how the seasons, we're all attached to and we're all like, we're subject to and we're all like, what's that thing? We're all there's things unseen that's affecting us that we don't know. There's a whole different world. There's the microbe world that we can't see. There's electrical world that we can't see. There's Wi-Fi that we can't see. We can feel stuff, electrical fields, magnetic north. Animals, they use it to travel. They use magnetic north and stuff like that. Until we have drowned the magnetic north, we've turned it into stuff, and you have all these birds just dying, all these creatures falling out of the sky. You have also, a situation where it's like, people have different things. So maybe like we're all responding to something that's happening to all of us. As our fish tank here under the dome is being contaminated. You know, and we all eat the same food. And so you're not saying there's two different strains of the thing. Of the thing. Like, I'm not even gonna say it because I don't want people to think that I'm it's you get demonetized and your channel get destroyed for if you say certain things because they want to control the narrative. So what they've done is that they just make it so that you can't say truth to people because when you say people have the corner of the market of truth. It's kind of like the thing about eggs. At first eggs is really bad. Don't eat eggs. Eggs will kill you. Then it's like a couple years later, oh, eggs is really good. Eat a lot of it, and they go back again and say, oh, eggs is really bad again, and say, oh, milk is really good, and you know that the milk people are the ones who buy the ads, and they say, oh, milk is not good for you. Why isn't it good for you? Because it's for baby calves. It's not for humans. And then oh, almond milk, just have the soy milk. It's really good. And then it's like oh, now we done more testing. We find out soy milk's not so good. And let's try this one here. And then they keep doing stuff and keep experimenting on us. Now they're gonna come out with another vaccine. A vaccine. They say what a vaccine is just a whole group of cells of a sick animal injected into a mildly sick person, and then that person has to deal with their sickness, and now they have to deal with the animal sickness too. So now it's like they're making like chimeras, and they're trying to make us into something else, like a transhumanism type thing. It's kind of crazy, but it's one of those things where they inject you with stuff to see what happens. Remember before a friend of mine wrote on my page, and I thought about this, the whole bloodletting thing. They thought you had bad blood, so you had too much blood, so you had to bleed you to death. You remember that? Yeah, bloodletting. That was top line science back in the day. It'll bleed you to death. Oh, my favorite is when the scientists were saying that the black people were not fully human. Oh, and it had the whole Aborigine thing, and how they said Aborigines are fully human, and how the tribes are not fully human, and how there's the whole Darwinism thing. They started with this, they started beating us with all these lies, and then what happens is that finally when people start saying, God made us in His image, and everybody's on an equal plateau at the foot of the cross. Everybody's the same. What happens is that it gives us value right off the bat that we are a valuable people. You know what happens? Instead of that, what they end up doing, they say that we are not. God didn't make us, or we're a random accident, or that we have no purpose whatsoever in our being and our doings. So what ends up happening is that people start acting that out. This is, well, if I'm just an animal, I'm going to act like an animal. Instead of saying that, I'm responsible to the maker, and that one day I'm going to stand before him and give an account. People get hedonistic and start doing whatever the heck they want. Eventually, what they end up doing, they end up becoming like really really sad. When they can have anything they want, they do whatever they want, and it comes to sadness. People come to sadness to realize, oh my goodness, there's nothing left for them. Because once you've done everything, there's nothing left to do, right? They find all these actors later in life. They're like, oh yeah, I found Jesus late in my life, They did everything. Them actors are some creatures, Them actors are some creatures. They have sold their soul to another person so they can have a role, so they can deceive a group of people, a whole bunch of people. It's like, the whole thing with like acting, you're playing a part, You are playing a part. And I'm going to figure out how I'm going to take all this stuff to my house. They gave us some really nice stuff today to bring home. I got some food, I got my jacket, and I bought some stuff at the store. So I got to figure out how I'm going to carry all these things. Goodness. All right. Well, let me try and organize myself. But my whole purpose of talking tonight, I wanted to share with you just some of the things I want. I'm just thankful for God that He gave me life. He gave every one of us life, and we're here for a reason. Now, we don't know exactly all the reasons why we're here. We just know that some things, over time, you find your purpose in life. And we are in this situation together. As much as we don't want to be in it, we are here. Now, they have rumor talking about how they want to close out my office or something like that because it's like, they're seeing that certain essentials are not essential enough. You have to be a certain type of thing. For example, where I work in the office, there's like it's a garden center, and in the garden center, it's a lot of plants. And I was just talking about it last night, how people need plants and they need greenery and they need a park to walk in, and they keep shutting everything down. They want to isolate us in the house. So I'm wondering how long before people start saying, I'm tired of this. I'm going to go outside and get arrested. I don't care. Until we fill up the jails. We fill up the jails, or we fill up the protests, or we stand in the line and they come with a riot cop and start beating us all up. You know, um, it's one of those things. Like how long is a person gonna last, just not given into the desires of another person? Back to the thing about actors. Actors have bowed the knee. They've given their life over. If a director says, "I want you to do that scene again 100 times," like Kubrick, "I want you to do that scene 127 times," like Kubrick, they're gonna keep doing it, doing that scene over and over and over again. I want you to cry on cue. I want you to laugh on cue. I want you to laugh louder. I want you to fake that scene a little bit better. I mean, that's just some degrading stuff these poor people go through. Some degrading stuff. So what ends up happening is that, these poor people lose their life, lose their soul to this. They become like automatons. They're just like, I don't know what they are. And I feel sorry for the actors. They win Academy Awards, but what's that? Yes, you're the best pretender here. You have a great imagination. You've given your whole life. Your whole body is nothing. So who are you really? Oh, you are what? You're in your third marriage, your fourth marriage? Oh, you have a lot of baggage. Why? Because you don't know who you are? You poor creature. You don't know what you're here for. You're just here to play pretend. You get awards for playing pretend. You get money. So when you get up there and you give your speeches and you give your points of view, like we don't really care because you are just bought and sold by the elites. I want you to perform this act. I want you to perform this scene. I want you to do this. And it's like, you poor soul. You poor soul. Pray for your actors. Pray for your actors during this time. Anyway, another thing too is just I just want to say thank God for just how He helped my life. Thank God for my family. Thank God for my job. The job came at the right time too, because everybody thought that who would think that this job is going to be such a wonderful and pivotal job that actually helped me do a lot of things. I learned a lot of things in this job. I got to meet some really wonderful people, and I hope that so many people are hearing this, and I want to say thank you for being who you are. I thank God for my boss. She's a really nice lady, and I thank God for my coworkers. They're really cool people. I thank God for my DH. He's a cool dude. I thank God for a bunch of other people, but I thank God for how for the group, and I thank God specifically for just their coworkers that work with me that have helped me out tremendously. I just went through inventory, and I had a couple of really good coworkers who helped me and helped me survive that. That was a really tough time because I went from cutting Christmas trees to right into inventory, and that's a big shift. Going from pain and pain, I remember the whole finger thing, my hand started hurting me. That's one thing there. To having to shifting my whole circadian rhythm to being up at night and being asleep during the day, to just going right into this whole virus thing. I mean, it's just like there is no rest. It just goes right into this and just keeps going. So it's like we're constantly being bombarded by stuff. So so that's one of the things. So when your body goes through stress, your body needs time to rest, and your body needs time to heal. And then even went to the March for Life, and that was amazing. Got a chance to see that. So once again, if you get a chance to do something when this is all over, because this will all be over at some point, you go out and you enjoy this world. Understand? You enjoy the world. You can make life better for everyone. Don't be a jerk to people. Serious. Don't be a jerk to people, because this world doesn't need any more jerks. We need less jerks in this world. We need people who are caring, compassionate, who go out there and make people feel good. Go and make people feel good. One thing I learned about this whole thing of making these masking tape creatures and stuff like that, people feel good, when you give them something. You know, it's a straight up gift. It's like that. It's a straight up gift. It's a blessing to me to give it, and they love to get it, and it's just like awesome. It's like, what kind of creature would you like? And I say, I'd like to have this, and he's like, oh, great, it's good. That's been so good for me. It's been great. And so that's been an opportunity for me. So I'm just talking about stuff, but I just want to say thank you so much for listening. Those who listen, those who got a chance to hear. And it's amazing that this didn't cancel on me. I mean, I went the whole day on this, and nothing happened. Whereas for me last night, it kept on just shutting off. So I'm gonna go home now and spend time with my wife and kids, and I'm gonna go watch some movies, I guess, and clean up the house a bit, and make some more creatures, and contemplate the deep things of life. Again, research the whole thing we talked about yesterday. I talked about the thing regarding the germ theory versus terrain theory. It says there's one germ theory is that the fish is sick and therefore the tank is dirty, as opposed to the environment needs to be clean, and the environment itself is what makes the fish sick. So if there's poison in the water, it hurts the fish, and the fish start responding to the poison, and so we respond. Same thing with in regards to the whole thing with the vaccination stuff. If you put poison into people, you will make them sick. I don't know what they're trying to do. I just pray that their evil ploy comes to nothing, and that we can say, then God be the glory, and we get past this thing because it's our immune system, and we learn that the microbes and the biomes that live inside of us, that are in us already, we learn to be at peace with them because we're a world unto ourselves. So anyway, just want to say that. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to stop the video here now. I'm going to get my butt home. So, God bless. Thank you for listening, and have a good night. Bye!